Good day, Miss Glenn.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm just about to walk out the door, so I'm grabbing water and stuff.
Good, there you go. So what's new since the meeting?
Nothing. Sorry about the noise. Kiddo's got volleyball, so I'm running like crazy.
Oh, it is that season, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Are you guys, what, is she in high school? What's she playing?
No, this one's at middle school. So
Okay.
she's 7th grade and it's her first year. She's doing okay.
Good.
Getting the hang of it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, much better than she was when we first started. So that's good.
Good. What's she playing? What position?
All over.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't have really a specialty. She's trying to get it over the net.
There you go. There you go.
We have a pretty low bar.
Hey, you know what? It's fun. That's all that matters. It starts with getting it over the net.
Yeah, I think she'll get better, and she's having a good time. So far that's what we're going for.
Good. Good.
The coach seems pretty decent, so I'm hoping that she'll continue to get better. And we'll kind of go from there. But
Is she having fun with it?
yeah, she is.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah. Oh, what's happening?
Hey.
Yeah.
How's the market been for you?
It's a little slower. Like I have people who think that they want to do something, but they are not sure they want to do like their house is perfectly fine.
Okay.
And so their struggle is there's not enough discontent. So on but so
Losing ya. All right, Kathy.
Sorry. Good. How are you? Nice to meet you. Nice
Great
to
to
meet
meet
you over
you.
Zoom.
The joys of our Zoom world.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome. How you been?
Pretty good. You know, I'm still new to this whole business, so I'm still trying to put all the pieces together.
It's
And
a fun puzzle.
yeah, it's crazy. So I've got my first potential listing that I'm trying to get signed.
Sweet.
So I feel like my head's spinning with the sequence of what I need to do. I need to get a sign. I need to, all these.
A lot of fun stuff. Well, and we've got signs if you need to borrow them. So
Okay.
we
Thank
figure
you.
that piece out. So what'd you do before?
Well, I mean, it's been years, but I used to work in insurance, Prudential Insurance, many
Okay.
years ago in healthcare, working with provider contracts, physicians. But that was 20 years prior because I stayed at home with my kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what got you interested in real estate?
I've always been interested in real estate. I've always been, one to track real estate, but I figured it's something, I didn't want to go back into healthcare.
No.
It's something that I can kind of work around. And I also want to invest in real estate. So I tried to go to a couple of your classes, but I wasn't able to get to all of them.
It's all good. It's all good.
That's a big
As you
thing.
know, that's my passion. That's what we do. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. And we're here to help you through that. So,
Great.
good. Well, it's just the two of y'all. So what can I help you out with today? What's pressing on your guys' world and how can I be of service?
Well, I just wanted to, I guess I didn't know what the format was. So I just thought I'd
Wide open.
write. And, I guess my question is, so are you, in terms of the office, the market center, I'm with the Park Meadows, but I'm actually closer to the Highlands Ranch one. Is that an office that I can kind of go back and forth to, or how does that
You
work?
can always go back and forth. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
our offices are open to anybody that's
Okay.
in your system. So if you need to meet somebody over in Highlands Ranch because it's closer, we can set that up. If
Okay.
all sorts of ways to do that. So it's fun.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm what they call the operating principal, the operating partner. So I oversee the day-to-day
Mhm.
of the organizations for the investors is basically how it works. So,
Okay, great.
and then I'm an investor in market centers. Whatever everyone likes to say I'm the boss man, the reality of it is I work for everybody else. So
Wonderful. Great.
it's the truth.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to start meeting people in person now. So that's a great.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I had on my agenda, and Gwen, you can tell me if this is on or off base. It's something we've been talking about a lot with my real estate team. Is the fact that if properties aren't priced right, they're starting to sit.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if they're priced in the market, we're still seeing that activity. Yet the sellers that go, okay, I want to get the top of the market, I'm going to do everything I can to get there, are the ones that either end up sitting or helping their neighbors sell. Am I right now, Gwen?
Yep, absolutely. I always tell my sellers that we want you to be the house that sells, not the house that sells the other house.
Exactly.
And that always goes, huh? What does that mean? Well, if you're not priced right, they're forced to look at the other house that's just down the way. That's, you've got to be priced right.
Exactly. Well, that's the fun part about that statement of if you're overpriced, they're going to think your neighbor's house that's priced right is actually a deal.
Right.
Yeah.
When really it's just in the market.
Yeah.
So, and then the flip side to that is the longer the house sits on the market because it is overpriced,
Mhm.
more people start to think there's something wrong with it, especially in our market today.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Well, and I started looking for the people that I was saying that are just not quite ready to pull the trigger.
Mhm.
I started doing a search for what I know they want, but bump that price up a little bit, because where they want to pay is maybe where this house should be priced. And
That's
so
right.
they're not looking up here. So I'll look and then sort it by days on market. And then I contact the listing agent first to say, hey, I noticed this was going on. You want to tell me more about it? See if I can get a conversation going and see if I can hear a frustration.
Mhm.
And it's like today I talked to a Remax agent, or texted a Remax agent that's here in Castle Rock. I've known her for years. And I said, do you think that they're flexible? And she's like, I think they might be. We have a lot of feedback and they all say it's overpriced, but nobody's made an offer. I was like, what the heck?
Uh-huh.
So now I just need to get my people out there so we can look at it. If it's the right thing, we just make our offer where we want to make our offer. They
Yep.
take it, we won. If they don't take it, who cares? He's still overpriced and he's still
That's
got
right.
his head in the clouds.
Well, that's what we started doing. Exactly what you just said is I want, a 4-bedroom, five bed, whatever, in this price point, in this area. And when we started just looking at what's been on the market more than 2 weeks, as crazy as it sounds, just more than 2 weeks, and then going and making a market price offer. Because all too often what we're hearing is the seller say, well, I'm going to put it here and hopefully someone will and I'm going to wait for somebody to make an offer.
Yeah.
When the reality of it is we should price it in the market, create multiple opportunities and multiple offers, even if it's just 2 or 3, or there's an appearance that there could be, we're going to maximize the earnings for that seller. So that's what we started doing with our buyers. We put 4 buyers under contract last week using that.
Nice.
And
How overpriced were those homes? How much did you have to come down? 10%?
Yeah, about 5 to 10% is what we saw. So we would come down, we'd start off in the market or below. So like if it was listed at say 700, it should be a 650. We come in at 650, knowing that the house at 650 is probably going to sell for 660, 675.
It would have.
It would have. And then we'll end up buying at 660. So they're still getting $15,000 in equity that they wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
And then the neighbor's house sells for 680. And they're like, holy cow, you guys, yep, we sure did. That's that conversation of we earn our commission. We're not giving it. So it's how do we earn it?
Right.
Well, that's
And then
go ahead.
that's another conversation with the next listing that comes out of Circle Prospecting is like, oh, and by the way, did you see this house and what it sold for, and this house, what it sold for? Notice that this other house was overpriced first, and this is where they lost that. That's
Yep.
why it's important to choose your agent wisely.
It's the difference between being an order taker and a guide.
It's
And
interesting.
go ahead.
This is a perfect topic because my first possible listing is with a neighbor who happens to be an investor. And this property is in Highlands Ranch. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, single family home in the, in the 400,000 range. It was, the tenants lived there for 12 years and it's in bad shape.
Mhm.
And I did my, my thing. I sent the comps, I sent her a net summary, and of course she wants to price it at the high end.
Of course. I'm
And
listening to comments.
yeah. And when I looked at the other comps in the area, they all obviously had, been maintained and either updated or, very in good shape. This
Mhm.
one, it's so bad, Jake. I mean, I think hoarders used to live there because the smell is
Oh.
so bad. So they're
So-
currently doing paint. The only thing they're going to do that they've agreed to, she said, we really didn't want to put anything into it, but we're going to go ahead, tear out the carpet, redo carpet, and paint it this weekend. It's vacant, and she wants to get moving and, and start putting on the market in the next 10 days.
Now with paint carpet, is that going to be enough?
It could use, the curb appeal is not that great because the grass does not look like it's been maintained.
Okay.
So it's intimidating because from a couple fronts. They're a neighbor, but they're also, this is not their first rodeo. They've done this
Yep.
many times. And so I feel like, oh boy, and they know I'm kind of new. So I'm thinking, oh geez, how do I, and I did express that this is the range, with consulting with Donna, she said, let's just give them a range where we see it. And we gave them the range between 445 to 465. And she said, yeah, I think we're looking at 462 to 465, but it's not that far off. But
if it was in decent shape, what would it sell for?
it should be able to sell at 465 or, right. That would probably be right in that upper.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So
a nice plan.
they're investors.
Yeah.
What I would flip it on them. I'd say, okay, if you walk through this house and it wasn't yours, let's say you're walking through as an investor, what would you pay for it?
Right. That's a good
And
idea.
they may still say, well, we'd still do 460. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if another investor that does what you did walked in, what would they pay for it?
Right. Yeah.
So what if I were to find an investor that would buy it for that number without you going through the hassle of putting it on the market?
Yeah.
Would it be okay? Right. Or you
Right.
look at it and go, okay, I've got people in my market center, people in my area
Mhm.
that would be willing to buy it as is at this price.
Mhm.
So the way it sits, this is where you're priced. If an investor came in, this is where you're priced.
Right.
If you were to doll it up and do everything we're talking about, it would
Yeah.
sell for X. And
Right.
the way you support that is you bring in, and this is what I'm just kind of sharing is you do actives and under contracts. Don't use solds. Because
Okay.
solds, especially in today's market, I mean, if you got a 3-month-old sold,
Mhm.
that means it went under contract 5 months ago.
Right. Yeah.
And then it closed in 30, 60 days. And now it's 3 months old, which means truly that list price was 5 months old. So the actives tell you what you're competing against
Mhm.
and the quality and the condition.
Right.
The under contracts tell you where the buyers are.
Okay.
So based on the price point, now we don't know what they're going to close at, yet based on that price point, we know that the buyers are active in that price point.
Mhm. Yeah, there was one home that just popped up in the last couple days that's active. It's not in the same development, but it's got the same attributes with the 3-bedroom, 3-bath. It's maybe their property is on Chiswick, right near between Lucent and Broadway in that area. And then the one that popped up is off of Quebec, but it's very similar and it's in great shape.
Gotcha.
And yeah, and I sent her that comp yesterday because I wanted her to see that it's at a lower, square footage the value on it, and she kind of agreed that it is in better shape.
Yeah.
So how
Well,
about,
I think that's where you pull out Gwen's line, right? So you talk about the 3 different options.
Yeah.
I like the if you were an investor and you saw this house, what would you offer?
right?
Because it just brings them into reality.
Okay.
Even if they don't want to admit it, they may still say 460, 465. And yet, internally they're going, yeah, there's no way.
Right.
And then the question is, like what Gwen said, well, would you rather help your neighbor sell their house, or would you rather sell yours?
Right. Right.
And then the follow-up to that is, how long are you willing to let this home sit on the market?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have carrying costs? Because if it's vacant, you're paying water, you're paying electric. If you got a mortgage, you're paying the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
You got to maintain.
Yeah.
So how much money are you losing every month because you have the carrying cost with it?
Right. We talked a little bit about, what's important to them. And she, number one, she said that her husband and his partner, they're in an LLC, and they're very particular, she warned me, and they're very, kind of, particular about negotiations.
Yeah.
But they would like a quick close date. So that sort of conflicts with if we want to be able to, especially if we get like an FHA person in there, or, I don't know how
And
that.
again, that goes back to more questions. So what's a quick close date? What does that mean to you? And based on this price and based on what we're seeing with the other comps that have got under contract,
Mhm.
those that were priced in this price point went under contract in X amount of weeks.
Right.
And those that were priced here went under contract in X amount of days.
Mm-hmm.
So are we talking weeks or days?
Okay. She mentioned that, she said, well, maybe we can get another investor to look into it. I don't know. And that's another thing that I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to go about doing all my marketing with my social media and everything. Are there some investor groups that I can bring that out to, or what's your input on that?
So I will let Gwen answer that as well, because I know she's been working that side of it. What investors, Gwen?
Well, you're in Park Meadows, right, Kathy?
Yes.
So you could put it on our Park Meadows, what is it?
Facebook?
Seller needs, buyer needs sheet. It's in
Uh-huh.
resources, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But when I stopped that, I could send it over to you if you needed. But
Okay.
list it in there, and you can put it in our Facebook group.
Mhm.
I know one agent who did a deal inside the market center. I think they were supposed to go live today, and I don't believe that they will, because they're putting to get together a deal now, and it was in the sevens.
Oh, wow.
700. So, it still can happen in our market center. Other people are looking
Yeah.
for rentals as well. I just collect investors.
Uh-huh.
So I have a handful of people. I know Michael Lee is also in our market center. He has a handful of people that he markets out to. So when you put it into our Facebook group, it goes more places than just our Facebook group if it's something that one of our people like.
Right.
My people are more of a fix and flipper people.
Mhm.
And they also know some buy and hold, but it's more or less fix and flip. So without it being, don't do carpet and paint, well, this is what we'll give you, and then you don't have to deal with that. Those are the kind of, and they can do sod or do sod or hope it snows before
Right.
it goes on the market.
Right.
And because who knows, we're in October, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say all that, and then you can go on Bigger Pockets is a great resource for people who are looking to buy and hold. IROC, IRROC, it's called, but we call it IROC, is another investor site and group, and they meet over, I think it's the same building that the DTC Keller Williams office is in. So there are tons of different places. So not just like one place, but what you're doing is just collecting people.
Right.
And as you know, oh, you do buy and holds, terrific. Well, I run across something, blah, 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 every once in a while. And you're just putting them in your database so that you can send it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so is everybody else in our market center, as well as Highlands Ranch. So that's just what we do. We collect people who like to buy and sell, right?
Yeah.
So
But that's
it's
the fun
not
part
really
about
that
it.
much different.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the fun part about what we've been doing is the agents have gotten better and better. I mean, Gwen's been doing this for years as far as working that side of the market, which
Yeah.
is awesome. She and I have all sorts of stories we tell each other. And yeah.
Similar.
We've got-
I bet we've been on opposite sides of the same deal.
I would imagine. I
I'm
would imagine.
convinced.
Yeah, we've got and we got a lot of agents that, because they're interested in it, naturally attract
Yeah.
those folks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested, but I'm not really interested in this property.
Right.
But I see, you know, I want to make sure I do well. I mean, again, this is my first one, and I don't want to screw it up because she, you know, they have a lot of other potential.
Yeah. What do you?
So
what do
Kathy,
you
my
think of that?
first
Go ahead.
deal and my third deal was the same investor. He
Wow.
signed the documents. It was my first listing presentation. And he sat back and said, I don't know, you seem pretty inexperienced. And he
Yeah.
had multiple properties that he was getting rid of.
Right.
And I didn't say a thing. He didn't ask me a question.
Yeah.
And then his wife pipes up and goes, oh, I don't know. I just feel like we can trust her. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, at that point, I turned around my computer and said, we can sign now.
Right. Right.
So don't sell yourself short. If you go
Right.
in confident, because that's what I heard you say is she, but then you said
Yeah.
that her husband and his
Yeah.
partner, are you meeting with them too?
Not yet. She's the spokesperson, but the guy that's actually on the deed is not even her husband. I think it's one of their business partners, and that's a whole nother, I guess. I mean, I don't know if he'll be the one to just sign off on it, or if I'm going to have them sign one of those authority of, you know, those agreements with the title company showing that he's got authority to sign for it. But yes, she's the spokesperson, and I've yet to meet with her husband because he just had neck surgery.
So title is held in the partner's name, not the LLC.
It's not in the LLC. It's just by an individual, what the partner's name. Yeah, Paul
Yeah.
something.
So that's where, in that case, he'd sign.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
are they doing
Yeah.
a 1031 exchange, or are they just selling?
They are just selling, is my understanding. That
Okay.
yeah, because I believe she said that they have some other properties, but this one they just want to, since the tenants just moved out, they want to just get rid of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Gwen?
Well, and you know, going back to what Gwen said about don't sell myself short. I'm trying not to, but it is intimidating because of the fact that they know I'm new, and she even kind of forewarned me in a nice way that they're particular. And she said, who would be helping you, or she, you know, teaming up with you on the negotiations? And so right away, luckily, I said, well, you know, I do work with a team of people in my Park Meadows office, and my employing, or my managing broker, has been in the business 38 years. And she said, oh, okay, well, you might want to have her involved with the negotiation,
There you go.
is what she
Gwen,
said.
Are you,
go for it, Gwen.
well, a couple things. I was going to have you search his name in Real List and find out what else he owns,
Okay.
and be prepared with where you could sell those properties.
Mhm,
Ask questions like, you want to think like an investor.
mhm.
When are these properties going to be liquidated? Are you looking to liquidate these? This property, it looks like you bought it here and you've got this much equity according to the public record. Does that sound about right? And then suddenly you sound like you know what you're doing.
Right.
And that gives you more credibility, because you can't negotiate today, except you're negotiating with her now. And
Right.
honestly, you're negotiating with the wrong people.
I know.
She has no authority whatsoever.
Yeah.
So ask for his number and say, you know, I'd really like for you to still be involved, because I really enjoyed getting to know you, whatever, you know, because we're neighbors, or however you need to do it, but you need to get to the decision maker. Or you're just burning your time.
Yeah.
Can I pause this for 12 seconds?
What was that?
I said, can I pause this for 12 seconds?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
If you're looking for a little bit of help and you're willing to pay a little bit for it, I'm sure Gwen is more than happy.
Yeah.
she knows what she's talking about in this moment, especially when it comes to investors because of her background. So
Yeah,
I'd suggest that you guys connect afterwards even,
okay,
if Gwen's interested in doing that. And that
Yeah.
way you've got somebody that's there alongside you outside. Donna's great with the contracts and making
Yeah.
sure we don't get in trouble.
yeah,
Gwen does this day to day with investors and everybody else. So she may be a huge asset to this.
yeah, I'd love to team up. Just, I mean, for me, it's, I want to do right by them, but I want to show that we're professional and I don't want to look like a deer in the headlights.
What do you
So,
think, Gwen?
but yeah,
Yeah, I love it. Let's
yeah,
do it.
kind of
And then
breaking
she
up.
does. Yes. Well, do you each have each other's contact info?
I'm on Facebook with Gwen, but I'll send you a private message and we can exchange contact information.
I'll speak for it. That sounds great. Yeah, that I think should be a great fit for you. It's something we do a lot of with, I mean, even with my
Yeah.
classes when I coach people to it. Usually we come alongside them and partner with them for the first few deals to make sure they get
Right.
it.
I would love
Um,
that. I would love that.
That sounds
Cool.
great.
Yeah.
I'm over-
So Kathy, you're going to shoot Glenn a quick. You'll shoot her a
Okay.
quick Facebook message so you guys get connected.
Sorry, I lost you again. What was that?
You'll shoot her a quick Facebook message to make sure
Yes.
y'all get connected. Sweet.
Yep.
Good. So I won't hold you on too long. It's just the two of us or three of us. What else do you have? And if not, what'd you take away from today?
No, this was, I'm so glad I joined because I was feeling sort of, like I'm kind of going through this hoping things are going to come together, and it didn't feel right to me to do it that way. And I don't want to keep calling Donna about everything. So this is nice.
Awesome.
I
Well, I'm glad
appreciate
you guys can connect. It's going to be great. We got a lot of
Yeah.
great agents like Gwen in the office. And when it comes to this side with the investing side, she's phenomenal. So
Yeah.
I'll just go there.
Perfect.
We played in the same messy sandbox for a long time.
Well, great. I'm
For
glad
sure.
I look
Awesome.
forward to learning from both of you in terms of more investment potential just for myself to invest. So yeah, I really want to learn.
That's what we're here for. Well, I'll
Yeah.
let you guys connect.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much for being on today. Thanks, Gwen.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Good
Kathy.
weekend.
See you,
Bye-bye.
Jake. You can go. Yeah, you bet.